An Art Student's Guide to Paris, 1987. It's the 30th of June 1987. I'm 17 years old and I'm on a trip to Paris. It's that moment when you step up the steps of the minibus, bright yellow, not to be missed, looking for a window seat near the front, ready for off. I'm sharing this journey with a group of other art students that I don't really know very well. None of my friends signed up. But I'm not really worried. I'm along for the adventure. So, time to be quiet, look out the window, take it all in. All our belongings, tents, camping equipment and so on are on the roof, lumpily stuffed under a large stretchy net. Tony, our intrepid leader and art teacher, likens this net to his underpants. He's also driving the bus. Pulling out of the college car park, through Ashford and onto the M20 to Dover, a large rucksack starts to fall down by one of the side windows. Some students raise the alarm and we hurriedly stop to hoist it back up. We travel on the Dover Sea Link ferry to Calais, and after an hour or so, we arrive in France. Having grown up on a small farm at the bottom of a bumpy lane in the middle of the Kent countryside, I didn't quite know what to expect. Our art teacher Tony is a funny guy, but also our fearless commander who had no qualms about tackling the Parisian roads in a van full of students rampaging in the back. Well, not really. We're all fairly sensible. Nothing phases Tony, and he was about to open our eyes to the marvels of the Parisian art world. Squeezing out giant, multifaceted blobs of coloured pigment onto that hitherto bland and shallow paint palette, my limited understanding of the art world. I had never seen painting and sculpture quite like it. And so to set up at the campsite. Tony has a friend come along for the trip. He has a tent the size of himself, a bit like a canvas coffin. And so to the city of culture. Of course, we visit the most famous gallery in the world, the Louvre. We saw the really famous painting. And I wonder why this one is so famous. What is all the fuss about? But we saw other famous paintings too. Well, if you're going to go on a Paris trip, going here goes without saying. The next place we're going to is the Musée d'Orsay on the banks of the Seine. It only opened last year, and everyone is very excited. It's converted from a railway station and has a vast glass ceiling, giant arch windows, and it is an amazing, awe-inspiring place full of painting, sculpture, decorative art, has work by Renoir, Degas, Van Gogh, Gauguin, Monet, Manet, and it has the original railway station clock too, so serves as an excellent meeting point after we've all had a good look round. Next to the Orangery. This is an art gallery of Impressionist and Post-Impressionist paintings and is most famous as the permanent home of 8 large water lily murals by Claude Monet. In this gallery, Tony quietly came up to me and said, "Have a look at the paintings by Soutine. You could learn a lot from those." And he was right. The way Soutine captured characters in his portraits was something special. Père-Lachaise Cemetery is the largest cemetery in Paris, boasting to be the resting place of many famous figures of art, literature and music: Bizet, Chopin, Edith Piaf, Oscar Wilde, Seurat, Apollinaire. But all the signs point to one person: Jim. Chalked, scratched, very much unofficially signposted by people to the grave of Jim Morrison. Who on earth is Jim Morrison? Luckily, some of the other art students fill me in, but I don't bother following the trail. I do, however, spot the Tomb of Jericho. Recognisable to me had we just seen this raft of the Medusa painting in the Louvre, the scale of which and the subject matter had been quite arresting. This image was recreated in relief carving on his tomb. The raft of the shipwrecked Medusa, tipping with the weight of dehydrated, desperate people, some of which only survived through cannibalism. And there it is, marking the painter's tomb. I wonder if he'd have chosen that himself. I mean, it doesn't really say rest in peace, does it? Montmartre is a beautiful area of Paris. Lovely on a summer evening with long shadows and orange sunlight, on a hill with its cafes and shops and artists busy, drawing, painting, and cutting souvenir portrait profiles from black paper. Montmartre has a great heritage of creativity and poetry and entertainment with steep and winding cobbled streets. Toulouse-Lautrec famously captured its excitement and characters, and we wander around below Sacré-Cœur and look out across the views of Paris. In the distance we watch with apprehension as skateboarders skate down the hill and feed into the chaotic lines of traffic. In the evening, back at the campsite, the other students are drinking cheap wine out of plastic bottles and playing table football. It was all very sophisticated. As you know, I'm not one for football, but in an attempt to try and fit in and make friends, I cheered for the student on the left as he scored a goal. Even though other people were cheering, the student on the right looked daggers at me and said, "Oh, did the ball hit you in the teeth, Giles?" "No," I said. "That's a shame," he replied. It was as if to say, don't trespass in matters you don't understand. This is man's business. This isn't for you. You are not part of this. Football, even table football, isn't your thing, Giles. So don't even whisper. Tread your own path and don't get involved in things you will never understand. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it. Today we're having a Rodin day. We're going to the museum as well as his workshops. The Rodin Museum, featuring the Kiss, the Thinker and the Gates of Hell, shows amazing examples of expressive human forms. How does he capture all that energy, that emotion, in a block of stone? How is that possible? There's also a rawness to the finish I like. In latter days, Rodin did not try to hide his process. The gardens are beautiful. The workshops in Meudon, just outside Paris, are a place to relax and think and look with wonder. And so to the Pompidou Centre. It did look very different from the rest of Paris. I'm told Parisians call it the oil refinery. Outside it was a busy, vibrant place full of buskers, brightly coloured fountains. There was a bagpiper and a Peruvian pipe band. Panpipes were the sort of thing I would make out of elder to amuse myself on the farm, but to see a whole band was incredible. Nearby is Brancusi's studio, full of interesting abstract sculptures, faces, never-ending columns that did eventually end at the ceiling. The next day we visit the Picasso Museum. What can I say? Clearly, he knew what he was doing. He did just about everything. If you want to go somewhere for inspiration, that's the place to go. And in the afternoon we let loose by ourselves. So, as it was very sunny, I decided to buy a sun hat and go up Notre Dame, looking into the eyes of the gargoyles. Those demonic little gremlins really appealed to me. I'd found some friends.